Shane Bigham. Swedish scientist Svante Pääbo has won this year's Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. The geneticist won the award for his discoveries concerning the genomes of extinct hominins and human evolution. Authorities in Indonesia say they'll establish an independent fact-finding team to investigate the deadly stampede at a football stadium that killed at least 125 people. Over 300 people were injured at the game between Arema FC and Persebaya Surabaya. Sakina Arawalia was at a hospital in Malang where the injured are being treated.
We spoke to the head of the hospital here, and he said many of the victims are suffering from multiple trauma, lack of oxygen, and lung-related issues, mainly because of the tear gas. We also managed to speak to a few survivors, and they shared just how chaotic that night was. The government said this incident was completely avoidable. The country's chief security minister said that the stadium was filled beyond its capacity. Amnesty International Indonesia have also released a statement saying that this is a violation of human rights. But in his official statement, President Joko Widodo said that the Indonesian Football Association must suspend all games until the investigation into this incident is completed.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino's paid tribute to the victims of the stampede.
This is a dark day for football and a tragedy beyond comprehension. I extend my deepest condolences to the families and friends of the victims who lost their lives following this tragic incident.
Indonesian President Joko Widodo has ordered an investigation of security procedures. Witnesses say the police fired tear gas at the fans. While FIFA has no control over domestic games, it's advised against the use of tear gas at soccer stadiums. Britain's finance chief says the government's ditched its plan to cut the highest rate of income tax. Kwasi Kwarteng and UK Prime Minister Liz Truss announced a new package last month that'll cut taxes, funded by vast government borrowing. It triggered a crisis of investor confidence in the government, hammering the value of the pound and prompting the Bank of England to intervene. Japan's vowed to reboot its hard-hit tourism industry and mitigate soaring energy costs. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida made the remarks in a policy speech marking the start of an extraordinary parliamentary session. Terence Terashima has more.
He said that he plans to spend about 1 trillion yen, nearly $7 billion over the next 5 years for the economic stimulus package to be announced at a later date. And he said he intends to remove the border restrictions for inbound tourism. And he also touched on the diplomacy with the DPRK. Kishida expressed that he is open to dialogue with DPRK's leader Kim Jong-un and work towards normalizing the relations.
Thailand's prime minister has officially returned to duty after a court ruled last week that he'd not overstayed his maximum term in office. Prayut Chan-o-cha chaired a teleconference meeting with provincial governors. The Constitutional Court suspended Prayut last month while it deliberated a petition by opposition lawmakers that sought to force him from office. The current charter limits a prime minister to 8 years in power. Prayut took charge in 2014, but a majority of the judges decided the Constitution, passed in 2017, could not be applied retroactively. West African regional leaders have called on the people of Burkina Faso to settle their differences through dialogue. The Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS, said it'll send a delegation to Burkina Faso as part of its commitment to ensuring peace and stability in the country. The leadership has changed twice this year in Burkina Faso after President Roch Kabore was overthrown in January and was replaced by President Paul-Henri Damiba. Azerbaijan's foreign ministry says it proposed bringing forward scheduled talks with Armenia to October to address tensions on the border. The foreign ministers from the two countries met in Geneva on Sunday after the worst fighting since 2020 killed more than 200 people last month. United Nations Special Envoy for Yemen says no agreement's been reached to renew the truce between the warring parties in the country. Hans Grunberg says he'll also continue to work with both sides to find solutions. Yemen's been mired in a civil war since late 2014, when the Houthi militia seized control of several northern cities and forced the Yemeni government out of the capital, Sana'a. And that's the news. I'm Shane Bigham.